Hey everyone, this is Grant. Welcome to another episode of Raising Amazing Families. I guess first of all, I just want to apologise. It's taken me a while to do this next episode. Been a bit tied up with work and a few other things, and so it's been hard to find the time to sit down and actually pull together the next episode. Today I want to talk about where you're at with your family with COVID-19, and there's a lot going on in the world at the moment. A lot of countries and a lot of states are starting to relax social distancing measures, and people are starting to get out and about. And I'm just interested to understand, where you're at with your families. Are you feeling positive and a sense of relief that things are starting to relax, or are you nervous that perhaps in some areas social distancing's being relaxed too quickly, and rates of infection are still increasing in a lot of areas? It's been a long time now. It's probably, 8 or 9 weeks. And I know personally, in our family, I think we've handled it quite well, and dealt with a lot of the issues of being stuck indoors for the most part really well. However, there's been the odd occasion where, the kids have struggled a bit and been a bit upset about the whole situation and find the situation a bit overwhelming, but generally they've been really well adjusted to the whole thing. But I've read a lot of posts online with a lot of families that are struggling. They're struggling with, the kids are struggling with not being able to interact with their friends or relatives, social interaction. Mums and dads are struggling with working from home plus trying to homeschool. And it hasn't been easy, and it's been a long time, as I said, about 8 or 9 weeks for most people around the world. So I'm just interested to understand where people are at with it all and how you're dealing with it. So, if your kids are having issues with not being able to socially interact, what have you used? What's the tools and the strategies you've used to engage them and help them work through it? And then for yourself, what have you done to deal with the ups and downs, the roller coaster ride, and I certainly haven't had a smooth ride myself. I've had to work, and whilst my family's there, I'm working reasonably long hours each day in my day job, and then finish up reasonably late at night and don't get a lot of time with the family before it's time to go to bed and start all over again. So mentally it's a long game to deal with, and it could be like this for quite a while. And I think for a lot of families it's a tough road, and it's mentally draining as parents, and then it's mentally tough for the kids as well, not getting that social interaction. And for a lot of families, they're not handling as well as they could, and they don't necessarily have the support networks in place. So what sort of things are you doing to manage those situations yourself? Have you got support networks in place? Have you got the ability to de-stress and take time out? And I've used the analogy before. It's a little bit like the oxygen mask on an aeroplane. As parents, you've got to look after yourself first before you can look after your kids. You're no good to anyone if you're not looking after yourself, taking time out, recharging the batteries, mentally de-stressing, whatever means that might be, exercise or yoga, meditation, whatever it might be, going for a drive, watching TV, watching your favourite movie. How do you look after yourself in order to look after your kids? It's a really important part of life, and it's just so important right now under this microscope that we've been living under for the last 8 or 9 weeks. And are you thinking about the long term? Social distancing has been relaxed for the most part, but there's still a lot of things that it hasn't been. Have you adjusted? Have you and your family spoken about what you might do to adjust to these new changes? Have you spoken about how to deal with your area if your area is opening quickly and rates of infection are still going up? Are you going to let your kids go ahead and restart sports or school or interacting with friends and relatives, or are you going to hold them back? Are you going to start to interact, or are you going to hold yourself back? It's a lot of questions to answer, and I don't mean to put people under stress by these questions in this podcast. It's more to get people thinking and to let people know that, as I said, you've got to look after yourself. You've got to have a support network, and even if that support network's talking to a close friend or a relative, weekly or daily, whatever it might be, I'm very fortunate. I've got good support. I've got my wife, who's, we're forever talking about where things are at on a daily basis with COVID-19 and how do we manage the relaxation of social distancing as kids' sports start to restart and trainings, etc. start. I've got one or two very close friends that I speak to on a pretty regular basis, and I do a lot of interacting on social media with close friends, which is good because it provides a sense of humour, and humour's one thing I need regularly to make sure that mentally I'm de-stressing. So how do you do it, and do you need support? Is it something that you'd like to have some support with? Is there something that I can do to help you? I'm always willing to help out. So if you're not on my private Facebook group for Raising Amazing Families, please reach out, and you've only got to search us on Facebook and you'll find us. And we do our best to support people through the Facebook group. But as I said, I'm more than willing to help where I can, and I may not be able to, but I might know someone who can help. It might be able to create a net, help you to connect with a network or with a group of people that can help. There's always help. There's always something out there that can help you, and there's obviously also the formal government agencies that run things like mental health and wellbeing. So in Australia, we've got things like Beyond Blue and mental health management with Dan Hunt. There's a lot of good agencies there to support. Most countries, if not all of them, have got some sort of mental health support agency available. But the key is yourself, making sure you take that first step of getting help if you need it. Having the courage and being prepared to put your hand up and say that you need help. So just make sure you do that. And as I said, if I can help in any way, please just let me know. Either send me a message directly or reach out through Facebook or through the podcast. And as always, I'd love to hear your feedback. So you can either comment on the podcast or through Instagram or Facebook for Raising Amazing Families. All right, thanks very much and take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.